Hi, guys. So let's welcome George from House of Web3. Give a applause. Thank you.
Woo! What's up, everyone? If you haven't been here before, welcome to the Edge Node House of Web3. Quick show of hands, who has heard of the Graph Network before? Woo! Awesome. So Edge Node is the initial team behind the Graph. We put together this House of Web3 for the local community, for Web3 builders specifically, to have a physical home, to make those serendipitous connections, and to really build out their visions. So if you're curious about learning more about House of Web3, how you can come and create out of this lovely space, or if you want to host events, talk to me, talk to one of my colleagues, Trisha or Elizabeth. I don't know where they're at. And lastly, follow us on Twitter at the House of Web3 to keep up with the latest. Thank you. Have fun.
Let's do the next page. So, first of all, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Ivan Linn, the host of this event. We actually put together this small party very last minute. We were talking to the Tech Week 5 days ago, and they were like, "Whoa, this is probably the only music event in San Francisco." I was pretty surprised, and thank you so much for coming. A lot of questions that I've got during this week is that the first question is actually, are you Web3 or are you Web2? And we were like, maybe Web 2.5. And let me put down this drink because I'm holding two glasses here. But the discussion and thank you, George. It's going to be a short, nice, high level. It's all about future of entertainment and also future of music. We have some guests joining from all over the world. So it's Kai Min, Chief Business Officer of Bitmart. And also we have Alex from Wavv. Alex, where are you? Okay, here you are. And it's me, Ivan. If you have played video games like Final Fantasy or Assassin's Creed, we probably have met in the game, but through music. So have been the music director of Assassin's Creed and also co-producing the original soundtrack for Final Fantasy for quite a bit. My career started as a classical pianist, pivoted into more of like video gaming music, and now in tech. And the whole reason that we started using tech to really engage with music entertainment is because one time I had a conversation with Sony Music. I was about to release an album with a video game orchestra based in Boston. They perform pretty much all the video games that you know, Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy, Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger, and everything. And they were offering a deal to me, which is, oh, so Ivan, we're gonna do 80 and 20. So I was like, oh my God, is this the pivot point of my career that I could do music as my career? And they were like, so Ivan, just so you know, it's Sony Music 80 and you 20. And I was like, it's not possible. And it was like probably 12 years ago when I started in the video gaming world. So a lot of you know that in the music industry, it's not necessarily technology related. It's very old fashioned. It's very old school. And would be great to have a little bit of change in this industry that we're able to empower music artists. And that's also my fundamental principle to have founded Wavv, which is a music protocol to empower artists without necessarily going through all the middlemen in the process of distribution. And also through the AI technology to help you guys find music that you love, artists that you love. Like, have you ever wondered how come when you turn on Spotify and a radio station, it's always the same playlist, always the same artists, always the same songs? So these are some of the problems that we're gonna cover in a little. But actually, I wanted to pass my microphone to Alex because when we talked about Wavv, it's the co-creation process. It's the co-writing process for music. And believe it or not, music is the most fun when you're part of it. whether it's part of co-creating process, it's you dancing in the club, it's you listen to music and sing in the bathroom. Those are like the most fun experience when it comes to music. So Alex, do you want to maybe talk a little bit about like how you would change the way that we could make music now that the bar is like you can literally create music in your bathroom, right? Billie Eilish won 7 Grammys
Yeah.
with Phineas in the bedroom. So
Yeah, thank you for passing the mic to me. So basically, at Everwave, what we try to do is to reinvent the way people could create music collaboratively in the age of Web3. I think during the pandemic, people, especially musicians and producers, got aware that they could make music being apart, not being able to get together, because so far making music collaboratively, you get into a studio with a bunch of musicians, you make music and you record, and that's it. But during pandemic, you were not able to do that, so you kind of had to work in your little home studio and then send your parts to other collaborators, and they add their stuff and so on and so forth. So we kind of like define this process where we had an evolutive piece of music where people could freely jump into it and decide to add some new elements. So we always start a new creative process with a base that we at the kind of like community define. And then we put this base for everyone to listen to. And if you're a musician, whether you're a piano player, saxophone player, or whatever other instruments you can do, you can, if you feel the vibe of the piece of music, you can decide to add some element to it and then upload it for the whole community to actually use your new element and implement it into the original basis. And then the new piece of music that you create in this way is going to inspire in return other musicians that were maybe not inspired by the previous piece of music, but now that they have a saxophone with it, maybe someone's going to think, oh, now with this piece of saxophone, I can do a nice jazz version or a nice ambient version of that original piece of music. And so we create this kind of feedback loop between musicians and producers that goes on. And theoretically, it can go on and on kind of like forever. But obviously, at some point, you cannot get the idea. You cannot get to the end of the original music ID. And at this point, we basically stop the creative process and we mint the result as an NFT. And because everything happened on chain, we know who created what on which piece of music and who's supposed to get what. But I don't want to get too much into the details because that would take too much time, and I feel like I need to let
I'm not
people
gonna
talk a little bit. So, yeah,
Well,
that's
thank you, Alex. Because if you are part of the karaoke or singing in the bathroom or co-creating music with your friends, music is the best experience that you could have. Or jamming session or reading session. That's the things that musicians would actually get together. I have some friends here today. Mika is here. We would jam together. But I also wanted to ask Kaimin, because one of the most critical and most discussed topics about music is that so musicians are not necessarily being paid well. Like this is one of the most practical fact right now. I remember I was watching a video. Snoop Dogg was there. A new music company, Gamma, was there. There are like. So the YouTube Shorts, they've generated around $15 million, but only like $10,000 would be distributed to music creators. Something's going on here. I mean, infrastructure or music business or how royalties are being calculated. And I know that Bitmart is also running the marketplace for NFTs of different kinds. What do you think this could possibly be a future way to give musicians a better place for them to build a career, have their music being heard, and also meaning they could buy more than one cappuccino per month based on that salary?
Yeah, exactly. So, to be honest, I do see, the fact is, in the traditional pyramid, or say the traditional mechanism of all those, assets to be valued in this world, including like arts, including music. It was being like putting a formula on it, and also has been a very centralized and controlled only by several huge distributor, which makes the last that the artist himself, him or herself, only take a very, very small or small cut or a portion from such benefit chain, right? Because those agencies and also in the marketplaces or distributors, they take there's so many people behind them, so that's leading the final artist doesn't have really a good profit sharing from all those ways. But and also it's also because it really depends on like which artist the media the social media is trying to promote them, because of there's so many benefits tangled behind. There's something going on there, right? But in my view, or say generally speaking, every asset has a great value. They just need a platform to provide them the opportunity for exposure and attract more eyeballs, right? So I feel like the Web3 is actually giving all artists a fair chance to create something by them own and distribute it using another type of platform, which is more decentralized and more open to another a bunch of audiences, right? So Bitmart, we're not only just running the NFT marketplace, we also have spot trading, future trading, being I was industry lead, since 2017. So our vision is basically every artist, every piece of art has its own value and should be treasured and to be listed on Bitmart for sure. So we're being one of the big backer for Wavv, and of course for all the other artists in the audience seats that will definitely will be super supportive on the future collaboration listings.
Cool. Sounds great. You want to add something, Alex?
Yeah, because so I've been in Web3 for a few years now, and I'm like really a deep believer of Web3 being able to cut the middleman and like being able to bring more revenue to creators that in a direct fashion. But there's one big elephant in the room. I'm going to ruin the mood a little bit. Web3 is not going to save us all. I think it's going to be part of a necessary revision of an artist's way of life and the artist revenue model that we've been knowing since the beginning of the modern music industry, basically in the 50s or something like that. And the problem is the enormous amount of content that is being put out there every day. I was checking some numbers recently, and I think there's basically per day on average for the first quarter of 2023, about 160,000 new piece of music being released per day. That's, if you take an average of 3 minutes per song, that's an average of 6,000 hours of music per day. And you only have 24 hours per day to listen to these 6,000 hours. And it compounds every day. So there's no way that, I mean, everybody's gonna get noticed, and every creator is gonna get their fair share here. There's gonna be people that are not gonna make it, and there's gonna be a kind of natural selection. So yes, Web3 is a way for creators to get a more fair share, but it's not gonna be a solution for some artists not being able to make a living at the end of the day.
Right. And also, I wanted to bring up one of the facts that now we've all used OpenAI's ChatGPT, and also we know that music isn't necessarily something that you go into your bathroom and you sing out loud and it comes at the perfect song that would win your Grammy. Music has been always really mathematic. Like we have 12 major keys, 12 minor keys, there's chord progression, everything can be written down into numbers. What do you guys think? Because now we have ChatGPT, and we're going to reveal a little bit of Music GPT today in a bit. The most questions that people will ask is that, well, is it going to be replacing musicians? Is it going to be replacing producers and composers? How many musicians do we have in the room? If you were able to raise your, oh my God, this is a lot. Great.
Wow.
Great. Love to hear your thoughts later. But we started to see that music industry is a really funky and also fun, entertaining place. You work with music producers, you work with singers, work with mixers, engineers, and everyone in the room as part of the process. But the thing is that when you open a software called like Pro Tools is like much advanced software of GarageBand of Apple, just so you know. The thing is that it's not easy to use, and there are so many software that actually you could give a prompt and it would provide you with some kind of music that you would hope. And especially in music industry, the most important thing is that you got to work with your clients. So, you know, communicating through the language that we know, but in music has been incredibly hard and challenging. Like, we have so many musicians in the room, so we know that sometimes they would request you to compose or produce a music that's warm but chill at the same time, black and white at the same time. And you know, in terms of the communication going on for music, we started to think about maybe AI would be the way to actually empower and assist music producers on music creating process, that you can have more options, first of all. Second of all, you can be more creative. You don't need to be classically trained. You don't need to know music theory throughout. And it's a way that you can actually, by giving the prompt, the language that you know of, then it started to generate and create music. So let me start with Alex. Like, do you think this is something that it's going to replace music producers? It's going to be killing music composers, or it's actually opening up a much larger music economy where everyone would have the chance to write, create music they love?
Yeah, that actually, I mean, if people are interested, they can look it up. I wrote an extensive blog post exactly about this topic because I'm very interested in that. I think music eventually, it's about emotion, right? People listen to music because it makes them feel something. And they relate to it, and emotion is human. So they enjoy it because it provokes an emotion. But then, don't you feel cheated whenever like you see something beautiful or you listen to something beautiful, but then you actually learn that it was made by a machine, and you're like, oh, know what I mean? Because like you cannot connect with a human being behind it. And I think fundamentally the reason why as a human being, we love art, we consume quote unquote art, is because at the end of the day, we kind of connect with the person behind that produced that piece of art. And that's, I think, why AI will never replace human in the creative process. I'm not saying AI cannot make music as good as human being. Yeah, AI will make music way faster, way better than any human being. But at the end of the day, people will still seek that human connection behind the work of art. And I think that's actually where Web3 come back into play, where you can actually have some type of proof of humanity. Like blockchain is very good to trace the origin of things. So being able to have an on-chain proof that, yeah, this work of art was made by a human, this human, and I can prove it because it's recorded on chain. I think that's going to be a thing eventually. Yeah.
And I also wanted to ask Kaimin, because it raises another question of, so if AI composes or generates this piece of music, what's the royalty? So actually it has started like record labels, they would argue, this generative AI music is really similar and close to my artist under Sony Music. So how we're going to see that, like, royalties and also ownership going forward in the future, and in general, what's the way that either NFTs or Web3 and blockchain could try to be part of the game going forward to really empower artists to come up music that we all would love?
Yeah, sure. It's a great question. It's a great question. So, before diving into the crypto industry on 2017, I used to work for those AI companies. Then mainly that's for for the financial kind of like lending club, the kind of P2P thing that happened. That I was back in Singapore back that time. So, in my opinion, that the traditional AI, or say the last stage Web2 AI, is basically their training or their modeling in a finite set, right? Within a finite set, which meaning they always keep looping in the same loop all the time, and that is why the reason that basically a couple of years ago there's argument saying, okay, AI is killing people because they are always keep you in the same loop. They always recommend the same thing that you like because they know where your dopamine coming from, right? So that's why they always recommend the same thing to you. I mean, that's actually not a very good creative thing for human being. But for the musician, or say in the future, in the data in Web3 that's more decentralized, and all the musicians are able to raise their voice. And AI now does not become a machine that keeps you in the same circle. It actually becomes a tool that helps you quickly generate a piece of music that to test out the market, see if that's a mistake or that people actually love it. So I would say I don't think AI is gonna eat the cake, but instead it helps musicians quickly iterate their cake into different version, see which cake tastes better, right? So I think AI in the Web3, because now all the data becomes more decentralized, and AI can help the musicians or the artists gathering all kinds of different random rhythm, or say even random combination to improve the music to another level. Because think about this way: if it's only limiting the human beings brain, our brain was trained since we were a kid to be follow the rule, or say follow the follow whatever it is, right? So it's hard for us to think out of the box. But AI, somehow the randomness helps the musician to think out of the box. That creates another another level, or say another universe for the music and arts. That's my thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, if you would be able to see this, so this is a very simple version of how language model for music is going on. Jukebox, Google Music LM, the language models that you actually see as of today, it's they train existing songs and music from the market. So that's from waveform to spectrogram into audio encoder and to the diffusion model. And you put in text to describe what kind of music that you want, and also into the diffusion model. And if you see the audio decoder here, it's basically based on the emotion, the characteristics, and the color, everything that you want, including the current data in the market that you want to create some new music. But the language model we're going to reveal in a few minutes is that you see human emotions, and also, well, we make it very general here, like Wavv music encoder. It's pretty much based on the basic fundamental music language, which is the tones, the keys, the rhythm, the beats per minute, it's the intervals, it's the cross progression. We haven't gone into the frequency yet, because you might heard like Nikola Tesla 369 hertz, 528 hertz. We're going to get there in like maybe a year or two. But it's actually through the fundamental language model of music. There is a reason why Hans Zimmer, the composer of Lion King, Interstellar, Inception, he always writes in D minor. And there's a trick why the music related to heroic, like Beethoven Symphony No. 3, Richard Strauss, Einstein's Leben, it's all in E flat major. So, have you ever wondered, like when you listen to a certain type of music, it actually creates your imagination in color in emotion, some kind of music like Gloomy Sunday. It's a quite infamous music that when you listen to it, you will feel the depression and frustration. So all of this can actually be calculated into numbers and to come up with a language model where if you want the music to be happy, if you want the music to be depressing, if you want the music to be melancholic, it's all there. So that's why we're going to do a very little music LM and music AI reveal here today. The first step is, well, you guys probably have heard of like music LM from Google. They do like, so usually the genre they would do would be lo-fi, EDM, music that's easier and steadier and like more stable for regular rhythm. Like lo-fi, in terms of the rhythm, it's really regular, and for some kind of keys where it's in either C minor, A major, or D minor, according to Hans Zimmer. So everything can actually be calculated. That's what I've been always mentioning, that music is the mathematics speaking out loud. It's a complex combination of different tones, different intervals, and different chords. That's why you can actually predict what kind of music can create such corresponding emotions in you. You can be happy listening to this music, can be feeling down for this music. So we choose the first step to be using the instrument, which is they call the king of the instrument, which is piano, because it's never out of tune unless like you're playing it too hard and it's out of tune. But it's unlike vocal or string instruments or woodwinds or brass instruments where it could be out of tune easily based on your performance. So piano is there 88 keys, 12 major keys, 12 minor keys, different intervals and chords progression. And we started as the language model based on piano so that it's a lot easier to track. And also, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys in this room heard of like Ludovico, Iruma. Like these are some of the first steps that we're getting into, which is predictable. For music, emotion is predictable because it's all serious numbers. I mean, of course, you can disagree with me, but when you look at the spectrum, it's there. It's all the numbers. It's a combination of numbers there that you can actually create. But I totally agree with Alex that AI is something that it's not going to replace human beings. But for music, like commercial music, for trailer music, I'm not sure if you guys have watched the video. Like there's an equation where you can put out trailer music. It's a bunch of rhythm and Hans Zimmer drums and a little bit of horns and a little bit of choir. Then it's the blockbuster trailer. So there's an equation out there that you can actually build the music.
Can I chime in and just say kind of like an anecdote? Do people here watch a documentary called "I Made You Look" on Netflix? It's about the famous forgery of art. Yeah, you watch it. Where basically you in this documentary you have a couple of like an art collector who bought a series of fake Roscoe work of art for like a super high amount of money, obviously because they thought they were real ones, right? And then they exposed them, they gave them to other exhibition hall. They were very proud of those new Roscoe. And then when they learned that they were actually fake, all of a sudden they were completely like destroyed, like they were like, oh no, like I can't believe I bought those fake Roscoe. And like all of a sudden the value of those fake Roscoe went to zero and they felt hatred toward those Roscoe. And I think what this says about our connection with art is that we value authenticity. And so related to music, I think that people will want to pay a premium to make sure that they connect with human-made music instead of connecting with machine-made music. And to be sure to get that premium, to not indulge into that fake relationship, just as in the documentary I Made You Look, people are going to be able to pay an extra to make sure that it's human-made music. And so I think there is a future for, because the battle is not going to be on quality. Human will lose. We are almost already losing. The quality, we're going to be beat by computers. So the only difference going to be, is the emotion genuine? Is the emotion real, or is it faked by a machine? I think that's where the line is going to be drawn.
Yeah, exactly. But one thing that, as a musician, because I came in tech as a pianist, I personally recorded for the original soundtrack of Final Fantasy and Assassin's Creed, and I strongly believe that this is something that if we'll be able to co-work, like between humans and machines, we can create something that's beyond us, whether it's creativity or it's the distribution through Web3. They were talking about music is something that's huge and also undervalued, underestimated. Go ask your musician friends. Probably more than 90% of them would tell you that, no, we are financially suffering. We are poor. We write music, but no one listens to our music. This is something that we're wanting to change. But having said that, because I know that you guys have like more than 10 parties to attend later after this session, so the music GPT, we call this music GPT temporarily, just because like people know about ChatGPT from OpenAI, but it's a model and a tool that would be able to provide you with a much easier access to write music, even though you don't play music. But for this one is a piano. So today the demo that we're going to release a little is called Piano Time. It focuses on piano performance. It started with the first movement that we're creating is just chilling. It's pretty much close to just chatting of Twitch. So anything that's a little more, like easier, friendly. So that's why we brought like Iruma and Ludovico. I'm pretty sure in this room, a lot of you have heard their music during the past. And since I was talking to George just now about coordinating, putting a video demo out here, and we have some technical difficulties to align visual and audios, we're just gonna try to here randomly pick one of you guys to put in the prompt, and it would generate a short piece of music in piano under 12 seconds. So who want to be the first volunteer? Let's do 2 of the sessions going. You can put in any prompt, as long as, by the way, the style is chilling. Okay, so don't do anything like I'm going to fight. it's not going to be like satisfying at this time. So anything that's like chill and relaxing. So I saw a hand right there. So why don't you come up and yeah, exactly. Do you want to come up a little? So introduce yourself for a little bit, and if it's okay, George could hand you the keyboard that you can. I think you need a microphone.
I'm an introvert, everybody. Bobby Venom from today's Adventure Capitalist. Yeah, just here checking out AI and shit, right? And music. This is awesome, really cool. I like it. Cool. Thank you very much. Put the prompt in.
Before that, please remove the prompt that we put there just now. We have the friend Dean like showing beer in the afternoon, but let's remove remove that and create a new prompt. So here. So delete everything. And it also has the mobile version as well. So George, are we connected to the audio? It will be anything chill, please. Lay back, Lucifer with ladies and kittens.
You got imagination.
Okay, let's see how it works.
Let's see what that means.
Okay, and we need George to press the button. What do you guys think?
Amazing.
Oh, I didn't get your name, but that's your work. Okay, so we can play it again. Let's do it and see if we have playback. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you. So before we move on to the second volunteer, which is going to be one of you guys, let me try to do this like elevator explanation how it works. So you guys saw the architecture about how to make this music language possible. And the reason why we choose music is that, I mean, choose piano is that it's so much easier to train. Of course, it can be a certain beats, it can be a certain type of chords, but for piano, and also I'm a pianist, so and that's why when you're talking about this is a little bit Final Fantasy, I guess that's part of the model that we put in to closer to Final Fantasy. I read an article today, like the book that ChatGPT read the most was Harry Potter, actually. I wasn't sure
Yeah,
if
so many of
that
them.
was true. But for us, this is started actually a little bit Final Fantasy, but no copyright issue going and stuff. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's scales, and but scales is part of the language model for music. Where so music is, uh, it consists of like scales, arpeggial, different kinds of melody intervals put in together. So music language model is much. It's like less complicated than like text and like English or Mandarin, Japanese, German, French, because again, it has only 12 minor keys, 12 major keys, but it has limitless combination of melody lines and tunes. So we trained the model through the medium, which is the MIDI file. I mean, musicians in the room, you know what I'm talking about, MIDI file, and also using the sound library right away. For this one, we're gonna upgrade, but this is the Yamaha piano. That's why it sounds a little like it's a little flat, but when you use like Hans Zimmer piano, it changes everything with the reverb. And actually, like right now, when you create music, you can actually target yourself to be in the center of a New York Carnegie Hall, LA Disney Hall, Hollywood Dolby Theater. It's everything. It's anything that you wanted to be in. You can be part of it, and it creates a lot of opportunities where actually you will be able to be part of music creating and performing experiences. So how about we go back to the homepage and let's try one more. Okay, so here you are. Yeah, here, microphone.
Hello. Could you type in? Oh, I could. I'll type it in. All right, cool. I'll do the standing thing.
Is it disconnected?
The delete key is not working. Hey Google, delete. Okay. Oh, nice. It works. Yeah. Ragtime. Ragtime. Ragtime is like old school American piano. You guys know that song, The Entertainer? If you've ever owned a Nokia cell phone, and then you had that like ringtone that sounds like you're in a saloon, that's what ragtime is. Yeah, let's do it.
since you're the creator, could you provide some feedback so we can improve?
All right, let's see. It didn't get ragtime at all because let's see, because I with my limited music knowledge, ragtime is what, like it's a whole different time signature. But yes, it did get Blink-182. It's like very, you know that song "I Miss You" by Blink-182? Yeah, kind of like that, or like Adam's song. It's like one of those like, it's a Blink-182 song that Tom DeLonge doesn't sing. Oh, so what if you typed in like ragtime but Blink-182? Ooh. Okay. So I guess we could first just try. Oh, ragtime, but Blink-182.
There are 2 R's. There are 2 R's.
Rock.
There are
Punk
2 R's at the front.
You pick something that's a little outside our, because it's more about chilling stuff, and you're picking something that's really powerful. Could you try something that's a little like lighter? Okay, Ruby has something.
Could you just type it in? This is definitely chilly. Could you just type it in, George, for me, please? A ballerina music box by a brook in a field of wildflowers. See, that's chilling, right? Ballerina music box. Ballerina music box by a running brook in a field of wildflowers.
One more backspace. One more. Really good.
Hey, we'll see about that. How did you like it, Ruby? Okay, want it again? Let's do it again. Well, let's thank you, Ruby, for being our second composer here in the room.
Lee also wants this.
Oh, Lee. Okay, so last one, because I know you have 10 parties to attend later today. So yes, so Lee, here.
Can you type it, George? Can you do Illenium, but not depressing? Illenium. Illenium. And not as depressing. It's very chill. It's very chill.
Is that depressing?
I don't know what it means.
So I think depressing is misspelled. I know, that's why I asked. He's playing, and I'm not going to his concert to come here. And I go to all his concerts. Bananas depressing. SING. I'm also blind, so. Delete a couple more. Go back. DE. Go back. Okay, stop. And then P. Yeah. PR. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Lee. I guess I got the feedback the first round. It's too much of Final Fantasy music. Okay, okay, that's something that we can optimize. So, George, can we go back to the presentation? So, um, again, this is the beginning of the era for music. We're sort of locking up in the certain type, which is like calming down. We use a lot of like Ludovico Iruma as the reference to go for this language model training. But if you guys are interested in, oh, if you guys are interested in it, there's a QR code. Okay, so this is a QR code where you can actually sign up. We're gonna release the March advanced version in around 2 to 3 months. So please fill out the form and let us know, and also provide some feedback as part of the demo today. Oh, you guys need permission? Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry about that. Keep the browser on and we will fix that. See, running a startup, it's hard. You have to get, I'm sorry about lacking of pizza, lacking of drinks, and me being face all red here. But we have a lot to improve and to go on, and I really appreciate you guys being here today. So, and also thank you so much again, Alex and
Thank you.
Kaimin today. As part of the party to finalize it, I'm going to give, because we're running over time. So you see a little piano electric keyboard here. So Assassin's Creed won a Grammy Awards 4 months ago in LA.
Congrats.
And
Congrats.
it's thank you. It's the first ever video game original soundtrack to be winning this category. I think it's called interactive media and video gaming original soundtrack. And so it took us quite a few years to talk to Recording Academy to actually add this category, because they were like, "What's video game? Is it Super Mario? It's what's going on?" And we're like, "No, video game music is like coming really huge, and it's not even about only music. It's about video game itself. You stay with it. You became friends with the character. You become part of the characters, and you are on this journey. And especially during this 3 years in COVID, we won't be able to get into theater to watch movies, but we can actually stay home to play video games." So next, I'm going to play the music from Assassin's Creed, which were produced together with Jesper Keat. Some of you might part of his name because he's been in this franchise for around 15 years. So it actually winning a Grammy this year marked a milestone where the traditional organization like Recording Academy started to embrace new stuff, modern stuff, but also we started to see that video gaming as part of this like growing industry, it's actually we're with them every day. It's not only about the Web2 traditional gaming, it's also GameFi, right? It's also Web3 gaming, and it's a lot of things going on. So this is Assassin's Creed. Thank you so much.
Congrats.
Okay. So thank you so much again, guys, for attending our event. And also let's give another applause to Kaimin and Alex as part of our speaker. Thank you. Thank you so much. And also George and Trisha from House of Web3. Thank you so much. I don't know when this house is gonna close down, but we're gonna do a little bit more party. I don't know if the wine and beer still. Oh, we're good on that. So please have a little bit of wine before you join the next party, whatever that is in San Francisco. So thank you so much for joining us, and let's bring more music. Thank you so much. Thank you.